think we're recording. Yes, we are recording. Good morning. I'm Vicky from Virtual Racing, and I am delighted to do the very first Q&A session that we've organised with one of our fabulous charities. And today I have Ben from the Fawcett Society.
Hello.
So we're both kind of new to doing this Q&A malarkey. We've just messed about a bit with the technology and got it to work. And said a little hello to each other before we've gone live. But we wanted to do this Q&A to sort of tell our virtual racing community exactly, what your charity does. It's great that we obviously have our International Women's Day medal. Ben's got his. And this is the second year that we've worked with you guys. And I think it's great to sort of hear from somebody at the charity, find out about what you do and kind of where our money goes, really. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Ben, and what you do, what your role is in the charity.
So my role is I'm the fundraising and community campaigns officer. A little bit of a mouthful. It's got a big remit. I mean, we're a very, very small organisation. There's only sort of 10, 11 in total. So because of that, people's roles are quite broad, and we tend to do quite a lot of, lots of bits. So broadly speaking, my role is kind of focused on everything fundraising, really. So that would be challenge events like this one. It could also be appeals for certain campaigns that we might have. It could be events, and so it kind of covers everything, really. But I also look after things like supported care and membership stuff. We also have a local group network across the UK as well. So these volunteers, activists who will help us promote certain campaigns that we might be doing. They might help us with fundraising. So we have about 20 or so active groups at the moment, all various sizes and spread right across the UK. So yeah, I'm also kind of in charge of looking after them. So it's quite a lot of things.
So you kind of got loads of time on your hands then, you're not really that busy.
Yeah, most days we're just kind of kicking back. There's not much really to do. So,
And have you worked there a long time, or are you new to the role?
So it's actually coming up to 2 years the day that I've been here. So before I started, Fawcett had never really had, I suppose, a focused department, a focused team on fundraising. So when myself and my manager started, we both started the same time. He's just gone on maternity leave, but we very much had quite a blank slate, really. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years, quite a big learning curve. And it's been really exciting. It's been great to be involved. So yeah.
Fab. So you'll be celebrating with a bit of cake this week then, if it's your work anniversary.
I hope so. I don't quite know how it happened, but I've become the office baker for some reason. So I think I'll probably be baking my own cake. But that's.
Well, send some our way if you bake something yourself. Now we worked with you guys last year, and it was quite a big sort of significant anniversary last year, wasn't it, with the anniversary of the women getting the vote.
Yeah.
So is this year, have you got lots of things planned for International Women's Day, building on the back of that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a tough act to follow, really. I mean, the scenery, how are you going to top that? Yeah, so obviously, as you say, that was the anniversary of some women getting the vote. There were still particular criteria that it wasn't extended to all women. That happened later on, but it was a fairly significant milestone, and we had the unveiling of the Millicent Fawcett statue in Parliament Square, which was huge, which was a massive moment. The first woman commemorated with the statue in Parliament Square. That was a big moment, which is great. But yeah, it's quite a tough act to follow, really. So this year, what we're trying to kind of focus on a bit more is this idea of legacy, how we're going to carry carry on that message, what it is that because the thing is, obviously it was a big moment last year, and celebrating the 100-year anniversary, but it also did highlight how much more there is to do, as is always the case. So it's really just a case of now kind of keeping up that momentum. We do have a couple of sort of quite key campaigns, which perhaps I sort of mention in a second, that we'll be focused on. We obviously have the usual kind of milestones in the year, like National Day, to sort of really highlight and draw attention to those campaigns as best as we can. So every year, and it a lot of support, a lot of visibility, and obviously working with you as well. That really sort of brought us into contact with quite a significant number of new people who might not have heard of Fawcett before and might not be what we do. So it's just a case of building on that momentum and keeping going, really.
Fab. And what sort of things do you do specifically in your work, because you are campaigning more for equality, aren't you? Really, it's not specifically female driven. It is equality across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, inevitably that ends up, the focus is women, because it's often the case that trying to bring women up to a point where they're not discriminated against because of their sex, in the same way that and don't have that issue, not suffering, the gender pay gap. They're not suffering, the street harassment and all of these kind of things, these concerns that men have. So inevitably, the focus will be on women. But yeah, you're right. It is very much about gender equality, and actually a good example is that the big campaign that we're kind of launching or have launched this year is going to be focused on gender discrimination, gender equality in early years. So we're looking at so we're talking kind of 0 to 7-year-olds essentially. So but in sort of the fairly extensive research that we've done, and I suppose it's fairly common knowledge as well, but by the time young people get to primary school, by the time they start school, they already have sort of quite fixed ideas about what boys should be like, what girls should be like, the sort of things they should be interested in. These ideas are solidified really, really early on in life, and obviously that has big consequences, and it can have sort of quite a profound impact. Girls may not be aware of the full range of careers open to them, and the ones they do will be very, very stereotyped and very gendered. And as with boys, you could sort of see issues there around them not being able to properly communicate their emotions, their feelings, and again, we can see the impact that has, quite tragic impact of that. So what this campaign is going to be aiming to tackle, with together a commission which is going to kind of pull resources and fees, and it's basically kind of working with parents and schools and looking to try and find out where these gendered ideas and these gender stereotypes kind of play out in day-to-day lives for young people. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's going to be it's quite a big campaign, and it's going to be sort of running from now until, well, whenever really. It's definite, but yeah, so that's launching this, so that's really exciting. It'll be great.
Brilliant. It's nice to focus on, if you can kind of work with children, it prevents a lot of the problems that happen, or the sort of people's opinions later in life, doesn't it? It kind of opens them up to lots of different options, so that they become more, their view is much wider then, isn't it?
exactly. It's about tackling the kind of root causes, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you kind of find, I mean, one example is like that we have a fairly sort of long-standing campaign around pay and equal pay. And unsurprisingly, there is a pay gap, and it's determined by gender. Women, you know, statistically, they earn much less than men, and there's actually the Equal Pay Day, which is sort of round about the sort of second week of November. Essentially, it symbolises the point at which women stop earning money compared to their male counterparts. And I think this year it's going to be November the 12th. It's kind of, it varies differently, but the last kind of 4 years or so, it's remained on the same day, which indicates that it's not changing, it's not moving, it's not, that gap isn't closing. And when you start to look at the reasons behind that, obviously it varies quite a lot. It could be, you know, outright discrimination, which is illegal, but it does happen. But one of the kind of solutions, I suppose, is I suppose just encouraging people to have those conversations with colleagues. But what you find is that, you know, women, for example, are far less confident in having those conversations. Men are more likely to kind of negotiate better pay for themselves than women are. And I think that this is indicative of that kind of environment where, from sort of a young age, women are, their confidence isn't facilitated in the same way that boys are. And, you know, we all kind of hear about this, you know, like when a man is kind of taking control, being assertive, and but if a woman does the same thing, then it's nagging, or it's, you know what I mean?
So she's a bitch, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is it. And it's strange, isn't it? The same behaviours can be, you know, perceived completely differently, and again, it's just based on gender, nothing more than that. So yeah, that's really what this campaign is all about, and hopefully we'll get to a stage where in 10, 15, 20 years, you know, things like the gender gap will be significantly decreased. I mean, obviously we would hope it would be entirely gone by next year.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all about those kind of changes early on in life, which this campaign is going to be addressing.
Fab. So is there a hashtag or a strap line for that campaign that we can follow or research?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly at the moment, the best, because the campaign itself is still being kind of fleshed out. There's a few sort of details. We have a fairly robust idea of exactly what it's going to entail and what we're hoping to achieve. I think some of the kind of finer details around social media content, etc., being kind of finalized. But but if certainly the best place to go would be on our website, so fawcettsociety.org.uk, and on that you can have the campaign section, and there's a full list of all the work that we're doing, including this one. I think it has a loose title of Smashing Stereotypes, but that could change.
Okay. Fab. I know you're when we first got in touch with you last year, I was on your website, and I had tons of information. It has the whole history of Millicent Fawcett and you know, the Women Vote campaign, and then obviously how your work, how you were formed, and your work since then. So you know, you've landed on your page because it's all purple, and there's loads and loads of info on there. So absolutely. So what's your website again? The Fawcett Society.
Yeah, fawcettsociety.org.uk. Yeah, and obviously we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well. So yeah, you can.
Fab. Brilliant. Okay, so last question. So we have about, I think we've got about 120 places left on our 10K challenge, which is for March, and it's March on, is it Friday? Friday is the beginning of March, so people can start to do it as of Friday. So the money raised from this, will this go to anything specific, or is it just to fund, you know, lots and lots of different work and projects that you do on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so most of the money that we will raise from events like this, along with, you know, most other kind of fundraising activities, rarely will it be earmarked specifically. We do actually a project where we raise money just for that. It's a collaboration with the law, and it's all about giving women access to legal advice who may otherwise sort of find it difficult to do so concerning issues of equal pay and sort of making equal pay claims against their employers. But it's a specific project. But most things like this, as with this event, it will be going into a general pot and kind of split between you know, whichever campaign.
Yeah. And I think from what you said right at the beginning, that you are a small charity, and often you don't, you know, behind the scenes, you know, you're all doing these huge roles, but front of house, you know, you've got a really professional website, you know, you're sort of everywhere and doing loads of work. So people do actually sometimes think that you are a massive, you know, massive team.
Yeah.
So, you know, for a small charity like yours with a small team, every penny does count, doesn't it? It's not, you know, you're not getting all this money in from loads and loads of different, you know, streams. It's you've got to keep going, you've got to keep working, and every penny, every pound does count.
It really does, yeah. And you know, last year was a really good example, because it was that thing where, okay, we're a really small team, but you know, it was a huge kind of milestone. This was a massive celebration. We needed to make sure that we were present everywhere we possibly could be. But as a small team, as you say, we've got really limited resources, limited to be able to do that. So yeah, you're 100% right. It's a bit of a cliche phrase, I know, but it's very, very true. Every penny counts.
Yeah.
It really does. So so yeah, no, I did want to say, you know, an enormous thank you to you and Virtual Racing UK, because you know, you approached us a couple of years ago and offered to do this, and you just, yeah, it's just fantastic, and these are fantastic events. I mean, the medals are absolutely incredible as well. It's just a really nice way to be able to take part in something like this, and especially for people who, you know, may not have necessarily the ability to do these kind of mass participation events, because all the big ones, you know, it's always quite London centric, or you know, they're sort of quite enormous distances, but they're shorter distances, generally speaking. You can do it at your own pace. You can do it either running or swimming or cycling, whatever means. It's just fantastic. So thank you to you guys for all of your support as well. It's really, really lovely.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you so much for giving up your time this morning, this Monday morning, when we're just getting back into work mode. So everybody who's watching, if you want to take part, then we have got 100 or so places left, and that would help support the wonderful work of the Fawcett Society. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stop recording now.